Okay, guys. Guys, take a look at example one here. Okay, on your first page, take a look. Okay, so this is good. Guys, I want to ask you, what would be your strategy for this question? So you could try all these numbers. That's right. And this is, oh, okay. You could, it's a little more complicated like that than that, but you could solve it like that, and that's algebraically. But for questions like this, I would encourage you to just guess and test. Okay? Yeah, for something like this, you know you only have these four options. It's going to be one of these, right? So so try this out. I am going to teach you a math equation coming up. Okay? You think so? There's lots of multiple choice. All right? So guys, if we have an n value, if we have an n value of 2, what is our n plus 4 p3? What is that going to become? 6p3. Good. So 6p3. And if we have an n value of 3, we're just going to keep going up. 7p3, 8p3, 10p3. Okay? So thank you. So if you check these, you can just check them in order. Which one is the right answer? C, right? 8p3 equals 336. So you're going to select C, 4. That's right? 8p3? Yeah, 336. Good. All right. So this is just guessing and checking. But what are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? And actually, I unintentionally made this one more difficult than it should be. Okay? So guys, take a look up here. What are you going to do? You could do guess and check. Okay? So we have a value of 6 here. So what does that tell us about this number here? It has to be higher than 6 or 6. So it can be 6 or higher. It's 10, it's 8. We can Guys, what do we know about this p? How do we rewrite that in factorial form? So remember that NPR equals n factorial over n minus r factorial, right? So we can rewrite this one as what? On the top we have n minus 1 factorial. What do we have on the bottom? Okay, yeah, I heard you guys say it. That's good. N minus 1, and we're going minus 6 factorial equals 5040. Okay? That equals 5040, 5040. Okay? So this is the same as n minus 1 factorial and n minus 7 factorial equals 5040. Um, how can we expand the top here? I can go n minus 1. So we've got factorial, right? So when we have factorial, we go n minus 1 times, what's next? Good, thank you, n minus 2, because n minus 2 is 1 less than n minus 1. So we can go all the way n minus 1, n minus 2 times n minus 3 times n minus 4 times n minus 5, n minus 6 times n minus 7 factorial. And I told you this at the beginning. I unintentionally made this question much more complicated than I should have. Because what you're going to find, that is really hard to find the answer to. You've got so many values of n. So we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. What you can do is when you get to this point, you can recognize that it's going to work out to n minus 1, n minus 2, dot, 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 n minus 7 factorial over n minus 7 factorial. Okay? And you've got so many terms there, it's going to be really complicated to work that out. Let's not do it. I agree. It's like super foiling. There's tons of foiling. So good old guess and check. Okay, good old guess and check. You can try 6p4. I think the answer is actually 7p4. So I'm going to apologize for this question, guys. So n would be 8, yeah. So we know that 7p6 equals 5,040. So when you take a look at that, you know that n minus 1 equals 7 and n equals 8, okay? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And again, I apologize. You won't see a question like this where you're asked to work it out on your exam. Bad question. Bad question. But this is a valuable lesson. Remember, we've got 7p6. So you have to equate this. N minus 1 equals 7. And from that, you can find your value for n. Yeah. Okay, now this one is actually, it looks more complicated, but this is a pretty simple question, okay? We know that we have n minus 1 factorial over n minus 2 factorial equals 18, right? Yeah, I know. So how can we simplify this? It was too small for me. Yeah, good. Thank you. N minus 2 factorial. And on the bottom, we have n minus 2 factorial. So we can cancel those out. Everyone with me? We can cancel those out. And what we're left with is, well, I won't draw the brackets. N minus 1 equals 18. So what is our value for n? 19. Good. Easy so far? Yeah, it is, isn't it? I have seen a problem like this on your exam, and this is the toughest. All right, this is the toughest one. We're trying to find a value of r. What do we know about r? Good. It can be 6, so it can be 6 or less. So if you totally forget how to do this algebraically, you can do guess and check. With 6, it's not so bad. You have 6 different options to look at. But you can have something like 11 PR, and then you have 11 different options. It's going to take you a while to do. All right, so you can rewrite 6PR, 6 factorial over what? 6 factorial over what? Good, thank you. 6 minus r factorial equals 120. Okay? I write too big, I think. No? That's true. Okay, so 6 factorial over 6 minus r factorial. What can we do here? We're trying to find out what r is, right? We're trying to find out what r is. So if we can get r by itself, r equals something. That's our goal. Do you guys know the cross multiplication? Yeah? So how would that help us here? How would that help us here? I can cross multiply. So you can think of 120 as 120 over 1. And you can flip those. Does everyone understand how I got from this to this? No? Yeah. So we can multiply both sides by this value, 6 minus r squared, right? So we're multiplying on this side, and then we're going to divide both sides by 120, which brings it over here. Does that make sense? No? So they do just switch spots, and mathematically it works because we can go what we can do is to get rid of 6 minus r from the bottom here, we can multiply both sides by 6, I'm going to just draw a line here, 6 minus r factorial and 6 minus r factorial. And over here we can do the same thing, 6 minus r factorial and 6 minus r factorial. This is a times, or times like that, right? That's, okay, hold on a sec. Let's look at that in a bit of an easier way. So if I lost you with that, let's try it this way, okay? So we have 6 factorial over 6 minus r factorial equals 120, right? So if we multiply, what you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side, right? So if we multiply the left side by 6 minus r factorial, and we multiply the right side by 6 minus r factorial, where can we cancel out? Right. So we can cancel these out here. And what we're left with six factorial equals 120 times 6 minus r factorial. Does this make sense? How we got from here to here? If it doesn't make sense, take another look. We're going to do the same thing with the 120, right? So we want to get rid of this 120. And what we can do is we can divide both sides by 120. So we're left with 6 factorial over 120 equals, here they cancel out. Six minus r factorial. I'm just, over here on the right, I'm going through the long way of what I did over here. All right, guys? So this is the long way of explaining this step here. Okay? Sorry? We're not done yet. Can you guys evaluate this, please? 6 factorial over 120. What does that equal out to? Okay, so it equals out to 6, because you got 720 over 120, right? I'm going to write that out here. Okay, so this is 6 equals 6 minus r factorial. Okay, now this is where it takes a little bit of thinking. We have this value 6 on the left, and we have a factorial on the right. Okay? That's, okay, divide by factorial. Oh, no, we can't do that. But if we express this 6, if we express this 6 as a factorial, if we express this 6 as a factorial, right? So what is 6 in factorial notation? Who said it? Spencer, what did you say? Okay. Spencer said 6 is 3 factorial. How did you know that? Okay, good. Yeah. So, yeah. So, guys, Rachel, please pay attention. So this 6 we can write as 3 factorial, right? And when we have 3 factorial equals 6 minus r factorial, we know that this 3 has to equal this, right? 4 factorial equals 4 factorial. 3 factorial equals 3 factorial, okay? N factorial equals n factorial, yeah. So we have 3 equals 6 minus r. So what is your r value? Good. R value of 3. So it does take a bit of time. You don't normally have to go through all this stuff, right? It does normally take a bit of time. So you have to ask yourself, is it quicker to guess and check, or is it quicker to do it like this? Yeah? Yeah, so you are allowed to take it off. Like if you think, if exactly. So if you have like 5 factorial equals 5 factorial, you know you can take that factorial away. Yeah. And 5 equals 5. That holds true. This is the hardest stuff that will involve algebra. Possibly. Why? Well, the test is already made. The test is already made. But there, okay. For example, I know last test was tough because the very last thing we learned about were those 3 Venn diagram things, and that ended up being a lot of your test, didn't it? Those 3 Venn diagram things. This, at the most, would take up like 6% of your test. Yeah, it's not that much. Huh? When you have a factorial, on the left and the right, you know that yeah, you can. Yeah? Yeah, that was a good guess. Or intuition. That's good. So guys, just as an example, one last thing to look at. If you're given this here, what do you know? What is n if you're given this here? What is n? 5. Good. N is 5 in this case. So you know you could just ignore the 5, or sorry, you could ignore the factorial, and you know that n equals 5, right? Okay? If there's something within the factorial, it's kind of within, right? We'll use that word within the factorial, and you have that on both sides. You can just look at what's within. Then you have it here. This is the answer. N equals 5.